What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don P. We are back here once again, and you all already know what time it is. Had to push this back just 15 minutes. Thought it was going to be 30 minutes. I was stranded. Not stranded. I was stuck on the expressway because, unbelievably, my car was taking me. It's self-routed, and I'm such a creature of habit, right? I'm like, "No, you're supposed to go this way," and it was gonna try to take me off. If it had taken me off, I would have been home 20 minutes before 8. But because I just instinctively was like, "No, you're supposed to go this way. Why would you go that way? That's crazy, and I need to stop doing that." Yeah, I sat on the expressway for, um, 35 minutes, something like that, just sitting there because there was a truck fire. A truck caught on fire on the expressway. And the crazy thing is just a little bit earlier today, a truck caught on fire the other way on the expressway. It's uncanny. It is the Bermuda Triangle for traffic. That is what Melbourne, Australia is. But anyway, when you see me in front of your TV, one thing's for certain and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And that is perhaps the most important number of them all. Number three. You may be asking yourself, how, Don? How does one, Mr. P, keep the Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very easy. It's simple. I'll tell you. Smash like button, subscribe, share with your peoples. And especially once you've shared with your peoples, you have cared about your peoples. With your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, you name it. You name it. You have indeed cared about those people. And you know what we got to get into today? We got to talk about some Mike McDaniels. We're going to talk about some playoff football, what you had here. I don't know what we should talk about first. I'm gonna say what up though to everybody in the chat. What up though, Tactical Sport. What up though, Duncan Stewart. He says we picked 17th this draft. I do know that. That is old news, but thank you for letting me know. Not, not sure why we came in with that one, but it's all good. It's all good. I appreciate the comments. Appreciate the love. So it is confirmed. Let's just talk about what we need to talk about first and foremost, and that's what pertains to the Detroit Lions. The divisional stuff pertains to the Detroit Lions, but not as pertinently as this one. The Detroit Lions have secured an interview with Mike McDaniel tomorrow for their vacant OC position. The interview is tomorrow. Earlier in the day, Tom Pelissero reported that the interview would take place this week. And then as the day went on and we got into the evening, it's taking place tomorrow. Coach Shep also interviewed with the Miami Dolphins for their vacant head coach position. Hear me out. We all know what it is. We know it's the Rooney Rule. We know all that stuff. And Shep probably not going to get that job. Okay, hear me out. I will have a special place in my heart forever for the Miami Dolphins. If the Miami Dolphins gave us offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel, and they took off of our hands defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard because they gave him the the head coach job. I mean, can you imagine the two birds with one stone situation that would be? They fired Mike McDaniel. He becomes our offensive coordinator. They hire Kelvin Shepard to become their head coach. And Raheem Morris or Brian Flores or even Jim Schwartz because our defensive coordinator. Do you understand the magnitude of the love that I would have for the Miami Dolphins? And nobody else is giving you that angle. Nobody else is giving you that angle. You're only going to hear that here on Motor City Cats. Now, listen, guys, for those of you that have been with me, right, for a long time, what up, though, Irv Gotti? Well, get well soon, Tactical. That's what we want to see. If for those of you that have been with me for a long time, I don't remember exactly the week of the season, but it was very clear that the Miami Dolphins were going nowhere. It was very clear that Johnny Moe was ass. And I was begging the Miami Dolphins to just let that man go. You never want to see anybody get fired, but as I told you before, with NFL coaches, you getting fired don't mean it's the end of the road, especially with all the relationships and the nepotism and this, that, and the third thing. Look at Johnny Moe. He didn't deserve a shot as an NFL offensive coordinator again, but he got one because of the relationships that he had. He should have stayed as the passing game coordinator for the Denver Broncos. His role is that, Bo Nix was doing well. He should have stayed over there. So I said, fire Mike McDaniel, release him, because you're not going to keep him come the offseason. I was almost proven wrong. They almost kept him. In fact, they did keep him. And then out of the blue, they fired him. I haven't checked on the reasoning for that, but I've been begging them. Hey, man, fire Mike McDaniel. So we and let him come on over to Detroit. And it happened. He's going to be in the building tomorrow. He's going to be in Allen Park tomorrow. Okay? So I've been on that for a while. Brian Flores, Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris is a little bit, I don't know that he's new. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Even though they finished out strong. Listen, and we're going to get into this a little bit as well. They finished out strong. Their quarterback situation is cheeks. Kirk Cousins finished the season 5-2. Does anybody realize that they had a 5-2 record over the last 7 games of the season? Maybe had you started Kirk Cousins from the beginning of the season, you'd have been in the playoffs, and Raheem Morris could have saved the job. And maybe that's why he was fired. But you wanted to go with Michael Penix. And listen, I told y'all about Michael Penix. I told y'all about Michael Penix during the NCAA championship game. I told y'all during that time, I said, listen, bro, how is he going to make it in the NFL? He's been in college 6 years. And the reason he's been in college for 6 years, because he kept getting eligibility, because he had 4 lower body injuries that ended his season. I think it was both knees, Achilles. It was all types of stuff that ended his season. I said, if you've got 4 lower body injuries that are season ending in the span of 6 years, you can't stay healthy. And the Falcons drafted him anyway in a surprise move. But the thing is here, why Mike McDaniel needs to come to the Detroit Lions. Mike McDaniel is going to be interviewing with the Detroit Lions before he interviews for the Tennessee Titans. He's got an interview with the Browns. He's got an interview with the Falcons. He's got an interview with the Ravens. Everyone says the Falcons is a threat. Here's why it's not. I don't think Mike McDaniels is an idiot. I don't think Mike McDaniel is an idiot. He'd have to be an idiot to take the Falcons job. Oh, sure. He's got Bijan Robinson. He's got Drake London. He's got Kyle Pitts. And that makes an offensive-minded head coach salivate. Who's going to be handing the ball to Bijan Robinson? Who's going to be throwing it to Drake London and Kyle Pitts? Who's going to do that? Is it going to be Kirk Cousins? Because I saw something earlier in this offseason. This is a very, very young offseason. They adjusted his contract to make a divorce easier. So if they adjusted his contract to make a split easier, I mean, Kirk Cousins is in his last year there, right? They don't have a first-round pick. That's James Pierce. The Rams have their first-round pick. So they can't actually draft a quarterback this year unless they just trade back into the first round by giving up another future first-round pick, just kicking the can down the road. It's going to be very difficult for them to acquire a quarterback. He just benched Tua because he was saddled with Tua for that job, and Tua was cheeks. And the owner, Ross, really liked Tua. So, when Mike McDaniel got there and he was propping up Tua and all this other stuff, and we can win with him. It's a bunch of bullcrap. It's a bunch of coach speak. Tua's cheeks. And the fact that Tua was running his mouth all season while sucking, Mike McDaniel had enough. Bench Tua. The vast majority of the time that Mike McDaniel was there, he was dealing with backup quarterbacks. Skylar Diggins, and I know Skylar Diggins is a WNBA player, but I can never remember the dude's name. What is it? Skylar Thompson? Skylar Thompson, Mike White, all these people were his quarterbacks for long stretches of time. So I don't think the Falcons is a fit because he'd have to be an idiot to go from being fired because you couldn't win because you didn't have a quarterback to going into a situation where the only quarterback has 1 foot out of the door, but they're going to cling to this guy because they made the mistake of drafting Michael Penix, who can't stay healthy for an entire season. And then you don't know what's going to happen with I think it was an ACL. So when he comes back in the middle of the season or whatever the case may be, and then Arthur Blank wants him to put Penix in and they want to cut, it has the it has the potential to be a very, very messy quarterback situation. So I do not think that is a threat. Let's move on to the next threat. Because if you're asking me why I've glossed over the Titans and the Browns, I'll tell you in a second. And I'm going to get to your comments. But we got to get this Mike McDaniel thing done. I don't want to lose my train of thought. Let's go to the next threat, the Baltimore Ravens. Mike McDaniel, as a leader of men, is questionable. It's questionable. Cliff Kingsbury is also interviewing. I think today he had his interview or something for the Ravens job. Both of these guys are questionable as leaders of men. If you didn't think that Cliff Kingsbury was questionable as a leader of men, just look at Kyler Murray telling him to calm the F down. Calm the F down. Calm the F down. Remember that? That was Cliff Kingsbury, wasn't it? Right? Before he got fired. We know it's not Jonathan Gannon, because Jonathan Gannon would have put hands on him. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Gannon would have put hands on him. We know he's done it. Okay. It seemed as though Cliff Kingsbury's questionable nature of being a leader of men came specifically from the quarterback position, because the quarterback is a head case. The quarterback had to have a clause put in his contract that he had to watch film, and he couldn't just be around here playing COD. That's the quarterback that he was dealing with. Lamar Jackson is not that guy. So I think Cliff Kingsbury, who was the coach of Patrick Mahomes at Texas Tech, would be better suited to deal with a guy like Lamar Jackson. Mike McDaniel is quirky. He's awkward in front of the media. You know, is he a head coach? He didn't have success in Miami. You fired Jim Harbaugh for a guy, or you fired Jim Harbaugh, so now you want to have a guy that you think would be successful with this team. The Baltimore Ravens are a tough bully of a football team. And while Mike McDaniel has a great offensive system, he has a great running game, he has a scheme that came from the tree of Kyle Shanahan. Do you think he is a fit in Baltimore as the head man? I don't necessarily think so. So those are the two threats that I believe that they have. The wild card, again, is the Raiders. Now, the issue with the Raiders is this: they don't have a quarterback. Do you believe in any of these rookies? Is it a Mendoza or is it a Dante Moore? Do you believe in any of these rookies that Mike McDaniel goes, I'm going to hang my hat on him? Because you hang your hat on him as the rookie. You've got two offensive players that you can deal with. You've got Ashton Jeanty and you've got Brock Bowers. And you have an unproven rookie quarterback. Do you see where I'm going? I'm just trying to break it down to make it easy as to why I believe that the Detroit Lions are the situation for Mike McDaniel to choose. Because again, he just got fired. And the situation that he got fired from, he had a quarterback who was mid to ass, who was not going to get him much of anything, and often injured. And you had, again, a guy who was the star of your team in Tyreek Hill, who had a catastrophic knee injury, who was happy that he was injured so he didn't have to play in that poop show anymore. He was tired of Tua as well. Because that season that he was having was not a season. It was a waste. And I think it was his last year in Miami. So, or maybe there's a player, you know, let's like, it's easy to cut him, trade him, move on from him, whatever. So he was super happy. You've never seen someone leave on a cart clapping, going, yes, yes. What the frick was that? Okay. That's the situation he just left. So now the Atlanta Falcons, very potentially messy quarterback situation. The not the Ravens. The Raiders, zero quarterback situation. You have no idea with that, and plus also not many offensive weapons. All right, let's talk about the Titans and the Browns. Is Cam Ward good? I don't know. Is Shedeur good? I don't know. Because Cam Ward gonna need to be protected. Didn't show a whole heck of a lot his rookie season. Maybe he takes a second year jump. He didn't show a whole lot to say I'm confident that the Titans are gonna be in the playoffs next year. I didn't see that from him. The Browns, I don't know who hates Shedeur. I don't know if it's the owner, probably Kevin Stefanski. He just got fired. And the Browns are a poop show of an organization. They always have been. So who would want to go to the Browns after you just been fired? Now, why is this so important? You just been fired from a head coaching position. That was number one. Then you go right into a situation as a head coach again, and then you're going to get fired again. That's number two. How many more opportunities do you have to be a head coach? How many more opportunities do you have? 3 is a stretch. A lot of people get a second chance. Andy Reid got a second chance because Andy Reid's track record spoke for itself. I mean, they parted ways, they moved on from him simply because it was like, I think it's old and stale. I know you got us to a Super Bowl. T.O. was injured. Donovan McNabb quit on the team. All that stuff. We're going to have to move in the other direction. Okay? If Sean McVay were to get fired and some crazy, something, he'd get another opportunity. Kyle Shanahan would get another opportunity. Right? I think Dan Campbell would get another opportunity. Kevin O'Connell would probably get another opportunity. I don't know about Matt LaFlavor. You know what I'm saying? Matt LaFleur. I don't know if he gets another opportunity. But again, the list of coaches that are going to get a second chance is small. I don't know who you could tell me is going to go out here and get 3 chances, 3 bites of the apple, unless you're talking about Mike McCarthy got a second chance. Does he get a third? I don't see why. Okay. So you come to the Lions. You're going to be coveted. You're going to have the pick of the litter. You're going to be able to do what you want. Look at Usama and with what he did. He turned down teams. He waited, 2-3 years. He waited. He could have been hired at any time. He could have accepted any of the positions that he was offered. And he got the position that he wanted, that he always wanted. It was his dream job. Chicago was his dream job. I mean, you see the way he's over there behaving, and we're going to get to that later. But Mike McDaniel would have the same opportunity because he doesn't do anything in Detroit except help himself. It's all about optics. Yo, I got fired, and then I jumped right back into a bad position as a head coach and got fired again. There is no more luster on me as a head coach. I will have to toil 5, maybe 10 years as an offensive coordinator to get another job as a head coach. In this situation with the Detroit Lions, 2 years max, and you're back into the head coaching range. And then you can be more selective. You can go to a situation with a quarterback of your choosing. We know he had high praise for Jared Goff, right? You don't have to praise a quarterback just because you come in and you do a joint practice with the team. What do you think about Jared Goff? Yeah, I think he's a good quarterback. He does a lot of things well. Next question. Okay, like you didn't have to go in depth about all the things that he does and how smart he is and how this, that, and the third. You don't have to praise a guy the way that he did with Jared Goff. You don't have to praise Dan Campbell the way that he praised him. So now he's coming here again. The only team that he's interviewing for as an offensive coordinator is the Detroit Lions. That's every other interview right now that he has lined up, correct me if I'm wrong, is a head coaching job. I'm just saying. All right, let me get to your comments. I know it's been a long time. Shouldn't have left you without the dope beat to steps two. Okay, anyway. Baby girl. All right. I like McDaniel for us. I do too. Clearly, I just talked about him for almost 20 minutes. Yeah, he was very silent when we beat the Bears, but it is what it is. So I'm going to, because he played that game, I'm going to keep him silent today. So no gloating, nothing. If you want to gloat, Ron, you know where the super chat is. Thank you. Next. What do you think Mike McDaniels would have to do or say for the Lions to throw the bag at him? Oh, that's a very simple question. I will show you how the interview goes. Come in. Hey, Mike. Hey, ma'am. How's it going, ma'am? Hey, the flight was okay? You got in good? Okay. Here's the contract, Mike. Here are the keys to the offense, Mike. You'll see the salary part is blank. Write in there what you want. Sign the contract. We don't. Okay, all the stuff that Kyle taught you, all the creative ways that you run the offense, all the creative ways that your run scheme impeccable. You know what I'm saying? You want us to keep Hank Fraley as the offensive line coach? Do you have someone that you want to work with? Okay, that's it. That's it. That's how the interview goes. You're asking Mike what he wants. What do we need? What do you need to be productive, to be successful? We got the weapons. We provide the players. Anybody else? You got some staff members that you want to come in here. You got a spotter, somebody to help you in the past. Who pass game coordinator? Who you want? Because everybody on our staff is replaceable. Everybody. We don't need none of these people. We don't have a passing game coordinator. Hire who you want. Our run game coordinator, Dave Shaw, was off, interviewing for other jobs. He can stay outside. We don't need him. Who do you want, Mike? You know what I'm saying? Who do we need to call? They're hired. Here's your bag. Here's your keys. That's your office. We don't need to talk scheme. Okay. We don't need to talk scheme. I know I help in the play calling. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be the executive guy that makes decisions for everything else. The offense, my guy, is yours. On third down, you call what you want to call. On first down, you call what you want to call. On second, you call what you want to call. Only thing I ask you, I like to go for it on fourth down. That's all. And if you say, if you say you don't like to go for it on fourth down as much, I'm open to that. Can somebody give me a blank white card so that I can give this man carte blanche? Okay, that's it. Nothing further. What up, though, Zach J? What do you think about McDaniel? I think I answered your question. Oh, this dude. I gotta make sure that I'm not clicking on any of his stuff. And how are you doing, Mike? I'm doing good. I'm doing great. How about you, John Doe? What up, though? I think the wild cards are the Raiders and the Browns. With the Raiders, you get your pick at QB if you believe in any of them. That's where we're going. The Browns, because they will throw a bag at anyone to come to them. I don't think that's not necessarily good, right? You're going there because they're going to throw a bag at you, but that is going to hinder your further bags. Does that make sense? Because this will be your second head coaching job that you'll ultimately get fired from without having success. And I think that's the thing that Mike McDaniel has to look at. If his idea of a career in the NFL has more head coaching than offensive coordinator, you don't take the Browns job because it's a crap show. You just had a coach in here that vehemently hated the quarterback that you drafted in the 5th round. The guy didn't even want to draft him, and then he played a mid-ass quarterback over him beforehand. Then y'all traded away Joe Flacco so that the owner okayed that, so that now you could make way for Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel to have this quarterback competition. And then the coach begrudgingly played Shedeur because Dillon Gabriel was ass. Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, is not a great owner either. So you just come from a tumultuous, chaotic situation. Then you go into another one. You got fired, and then you're going to get fired again. As I said, how long is the list of head coaches that get 3 chances? How long is that list? You know what I'm saying? McDaniel is coming to the Lions. It will be interesting to see him working with Campbell. They seem like 2 very different personalities. And again, I'm going to give you the keys. I'm going to shut my mouth. If I'm Dan Campbell, I'm going to be over here because Kelvin Shepherd really needs the help. Okay? If we're going to keep Kelvin Shepherd as the as the defensive coordinator, he really needs the help. 1 second. Yeah, Kelvin Shepherd needs that help, bro. So we gonna keep him. I'm gonna be over here. I'm gonna be talking to him about situational awareness. I'm gonna be talking to him about adjustments, halftime adjustments, Hell, in-game adjustments, period. But the problem with Dan Campbell on the defensive side is that he enjoys that bum-ass scheme. I want to do man heavy. I want to know. No, be multiple. Be multiple because y'all have too many goddamn injuries to just be like, I'm sticking to man. No, you got to do different stuff. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. Them working together. As I said, he had high praise for Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's bringing him in. They did the joint practice together just this last offseason. Dan Campbell is fine with Mike McDaniel. Remember, this interview, this is Dan Campbell's staff. This has nothing to do with Brad Holmes. This is Dan Campbell's staff. The general manager does not hire and fire coaches underneath the head coach. I'll be damned if I'm a head coach and the general manager is going to tell me who I need to have calling plays. No, sir. You get the players. I handle the coaches. And I handle the roster. Once you give me the players, I handle who plays and who plays how much and who does what and who does what where. So no. This is a Dan Campbell interview. Dan Campbell is interviewing these candidates. You know, I think his name is Jake Peets or Jeff Peets and all those people of the world. The T. Martins. Dan Campbell is the one bringing those people in. Special teams determined so many games this weekend. People calling for FIP to be canned are idiots. I don't know what FIP has to do with I don't know what FIP has to do with anything. It's not like we had bad punt coverage. It's not like we had bad kick coverage. You know, we missed a few kicks. That's not FIP. FIP's not the kicker. So, you know, people just want people fired. Right? Who do we fire? Who do we fire on the Ravens for Tyler Loop? Who made him miss that kick? Which coach was it? It was John Harbaugh. So that's why he got fired, I guess. Because he's a former special teams coordinator. Sully. I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying. All right. So let's talk about some things that we did see this weekend. As we know, the news of the day is Mike McDaniel is going to be interviewing for the Detroit Lions vacant offensive coordinator position tomorrow. And as I said, you know what I'm saying? That's it. That's it. When he comes into the door after the handshake, Dan Campbell needs to go in one pocket, get the keys, go in the other pocket, get the pen. Here you go, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Here's the keys. Here's the pen to sign your contract. That's it. We don't care about nothing else. All right. So the things that we did see this weekend pertaining to the Detroit Lions, as we saw the Chicago Bears, and I tried to do kind of an instant reaction video to this game. And I was in my car, and for whatever reason, stuff kept happening where the video would get deleted or whatever the case may be. So I said, you know what? I'll just leave it until today, and I can talk about it today. Osama bin Johnson seems to be a terrible person. He doesn't have the couth that Dan Campbell has. He doesn't have the professionalism. He had a tempered problem when he was like, you could see when he was not happy about things. And obviously, you know, you had Dan Campbell to kind of keep the lid on stuff and keep it from blowing over and boiling over. And, you know, you saw early on in training camp with Caleb how he was just distraught. Like, Caleb would throw an incomplete pass and he would act like it was the end of the world. And then you saw this thing with Matt LaFleur. And y'all know I don't have any respect for Matt LaFleur. I mean, his last name's LaFleur, and he doesn't do anything. If y'all don't know, LaFleur is French for the flower. Okay, if in case you didn't know. All right. So anyway, uh, he doesn't have anything to do with the last name, but you know how people embody the last name, right? Like sometimes, like if you have a dude named like Matt Steele, and he's just like Cock Diesel, you know, he did something to embody that last name. That's his last name. It's real. It's a cool last name, and he didn't have anything to do with it. He was born in the family. But Matt the Flower has nothing to do or does nothing to expend or I should say expel the beta energy. The beta energy is inside of him, and he runs with it. So there's nothing more than I like to see the Flower get disrespected. I didn't have a problem with the handshake thing. But what I would have liked to have seen was Osama bin Johnson say it with his chest. I would like to have seen him come with the handshake, whisper in his ear, F the Packers. You heard what I said, old pussy. You know what I mean? Like this, hey, stand up business. F the Packers. What? What? You heard what I said? What? What? Huh? Huh? Yeah, huh? That's what I would like to have seen. Okay. If you ain't gonna be professional, you might as well, you know what I'm saying? You might as well. I mean, I don't know if you got any of that in them. You know what I mean? Like you was in Detroit, get you some East Side in you. You know what I mean? Like a little bit, Anyway, so I didn't have a problem with it. The whole F the Packers thing in the locker room, I didn't have a problem with. I want to know, was he investing himself in this rivalry when he was with the Lions? Was he like, man, I'm gonna be with the, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be with the Bears one day. So F Matt LaFleur, blah blah blah. Like I just don't know where it came from. My guy, you've been with the Bears for 5 minutes, and I really enjoy beating Coach Matt LaFleur twice a year. Bro, I mean, you weren't even the head coach when we beat them twice that year. You were an offensive coordinator. I didn't understand that. It seems very fake. It seems very manufactured. That's my only thing. He's been a part of the rivalry for 5 minutes. Right? And he's the one that cast the first stone. Matt LaFleur, and I'm not defending this man at all. Matt LaFleur didn't say a damn thing to this guy. And everybody's like, oh, when they beat the Packers beat the Bears the first time, Matt LaFleur did something crazy at the handshake or whatever. Because he was talking crazy, bro. He was talking crazy. Go back and watch the handshake between Kevin O'Connell and Osama bin Johnson. Go back and watch that twice. We already know he wasn't going to do no craziness with Dan Campbell. Go back. What handshake did you see? What shenanigans did he do there? You are rivals with everybody in your division. We are Lions fans. We FTP, FTB, FTV. All of them. And Packers fans feel the same. F everybody in the division. But the Bears fans apparently only hate the Packers. It's weird. It's really weird. So I just thought that was a little bit over the top. Now, the game in and of itself. I obviously hate both teams. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears, their fans, because they went half as long as we did without winning a playoff game. They had a drought of 15 years. Our drought was 30, 33, okay? 32. So I understand, and plus I got family in Chicago, whatever. Okay? I absolutely hate Matt LaFleur and his beta energy. I actually absolutely hate the face of Jordan Love. The I'm so cool and and nothing ever gets to me. And clearly it does, because you make poor decisions and you throw interceptions and things like that in the biggest moments. The fadeaway throws and how everyone just wants to make him Mahomes. They just want it so bad. Like he's got to be Mahomes and Rodgers and Favre all together. He's not near any of them. Romeo Dobbs. He's just the dirtiest looking person. Like the dude, the braids are dirty. And then when he don't have the braids, the fro is nappy and it looked like he just woke up out of bed. He doesn't look like he showers. I can't stand the Packers. Now, just, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. I don't know these people. So if anybody's mom is watching, right, I'm not saying that your son's dumb face means he's a dumb person. I'm not saying that Romeo Dobbs is a dirty person off the field. I mean, he does look like he's got poor hygiene. I'm sorry. Matt LaFleur is a grown ass. All these people are grown ass men. So I think Matt LaFleur is a beta everywhere. I don't think it's just on the field. I hate the Packers. One thing that I did love to see that happened in this game is that the Bears were dead after the first half. Then the Bears went into the locker room, and an experienced defensive coordinator by the name of Dennis Allen had 10 minutes to change his game plan. He could not get any pressure on Jordan Love in the first half. None. He could not disrupt this man, nothing. And he spent the entire second half running for his life. Oh, so you can make adjustments. And it only takes 10 minutes. For whatever reason, Coach Shep believes that if you do make an adjustment, you must make it after the game during the week of practice. So what I believe that happened here, Ryan Poles, everyone says he's a bad GM and all this other stuff. Ryan Poles went out and he got you guys. He looked at the defensive side of the football and he said, we're going to draft defense heavy and we are going to sign defense heavy. Unfortunately for TJ Edwards, looks like he's done for the season and maybe, I don't know if it was a broken ankle, if it's an Achilles or whatever. Okay? Because obviously these are human beings and you never want to see anybody get hurt. So unfortunately for TJ Edwards, he got hurt. You got Edmonds in there. You went out there and you dropped the bag on him because you saw what he did in Buffalo and then you paid him his money. Athletic linebackers. Guess who had off athletic linebackers? The Chicago Bears have athletic linebackers who can run people down, who can cover. You saw that in the Patriots game. They can run people down. They can cover. We already know about the San Francisco 49ers. We already know about the damn Seattle Seahawks. Right? We know about these teams' defenses. So that's what happened with the Bears. And then, of course, obviously the play calling of Matt LaFleur in the second half. Should he be fired? He's not going to be fired. Everyone in the NFC North can rejoice. He's going to be extended. Okay? And the Packers have already come out and said he's going to be extended. Okay? So the fact that Ryan Poles went out and spent all those resources in the defense, meant that when Osama Ben Johnson came in here and he said, I need a tight end so we can use the 10th overall pick on a tight end. I need to go in the 7th round and get this Kyle Monangai kid out of Rutgers so that I can, complete my offense. I need a 2-back set like I ran in Detroit. Right? We got Rome Odunze already. I need to go out here and get Luther Burden to complete my receiving core. Because what else we're going to do is now, a couple years ago, we did the defense. Now we're on offense. Oh, by the way, at the beginning of the game, they talked about Joe Thuney, and they said, all this guy does is go to places and win. And we got him they got him for a 3rd-round pick. And they were talking about how much of an asset he was for the offensive line and da-da-da-da-da. He was acquired for a 3rd-round pick. So you went out in free agency and you went in the trade market and you acquired pieces. And now you've got an offensive line. You've got a pretty decent defensive line. You've got Montez Sweat and you've got some guys, but man, could they get to the quarterback in that second half? I know they haven't been world beaters all year and like top of the league and getting to the quarterback, but the defensive coordinator was able to dial up the pressure when it was time to go home if you didn't win that game. Brad Holmes doesn't have excuses anymore. He just doesn't. It was a travesty of justice the way Brad Holmes sat on his hands for the entire last offseason, while everybody in the division got better. You saw people bringing in free agents. The freaking Vikings brought in Javon Hargraves, for goodness sakes, to clog up the middle. And we said, no, we're going to go get Roy Lopez and we're going to keep Marcus Davenport. What the frick are we doing? We're going to re-sign this guy. Bruh. Brad Holmes doesn't have any more excuses. All of you guys that are trusting Brad and in Brad we trust, miss me with that, bro. All we did, key. We was keying. Oh, Ryan Poles, he wishes he was like us. He wishes he was like Brad. Key. Salary caps, not what you think it is, guys. And all the people that are going to be talking about money and all this other stuff, yada yada yada. It's not your money. Who cares? It's Sheila's money. All right, let me get to your comments before I move on to the other games. What do you think the odds are that he signs with us? If you do this and you do this, the odds are very good. They're very good. Give him the keys to the offense and the pen to sign. John Harbaugh is going to end up in Miami. Kevin Stefanski ends up in Baltimore. The Browns get whoever accepts the bag they throw at them. Not sure about the Raiders or the Titans. I don't. Raiders, Titans. To me, that's just it's too much riding on. We got to get the quarterback pick right in a draft class that ain't great at quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Unless he wants to go fix Geno Smith. What up, though, Lamico Cardenas? It would be better if former Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel come to the Lions for at least 1 or 2 years before seeking another HQ. Yes, that's correct. Facts. Love Dove isn't taking any team anywhere. Oh, Love Dove. Okay. I do surprisingly like how Lions are interviewing prime OCs and most are younger. You think McDaniel's your number one? Yes, McDaniel's my number one. He's been my number one all season. I've been saying fire that man and free him. Dennis Allen was BJ's best hire. It seems like it. Hell no, I love Dove. Hell, I didn't know. Real quick, I saw this, and I usually don't give this stuff any credence, but I just don't understand like the mindset. I saw this stuff, this crazy person on Facebook who was complaining that after hiring Johnny Morton, we're now back into the OC game and we're casting a wide net. I'm like, what are you mad about? Well, yeah, we should be doing all of this because we didn't do this when Johnny Moe was hired. We didn't cast a wide net. All we looked at was people that we knew and we were comfortable with. We're not looking at anybody that we know and are comfortable with, other than David Blau, and he's already been hired. Thank you, Washington Commanders. But I don't think that he was going to get the job anyway, especially with this wide net that's being cast. All right. The other thing that you found out, if you didn't know already, when you watched the game last night, both of those teams got after the quarterback. Drake May was sacked 5 times. Justin Herbert was sacked 6 times. The last sack that ended the game was directly up the middle. Interior pressure. My man Milton Williams beat the brakes off the center and got directly into Justin Herbert's face and knocked him on his ass. And the game was done. The New England Patriots did exactly what the Lions can do if they change their stupidity. They bought a defense. They bought a defense. They drafted a couple players like Christian Gonzalez. I obviously wasn't drafted last year. Okay. They drafted, I think Caleb Von Chasen. Did they draft him or sign him? I feel like they signed him. Right? And then they still also made some trades. They got rid of Kyle Duggar. They signed Robert Spillane. He was doing work. I can't remember the other guy's name. Was it Daniels or something like that? The other linebacker. I mean, they have fast linebackers. Okay? Athletic linebackers who could flow side to side. And they heated up this man all night. They were bringing 5 all night. And then when in the last, guys, if you watch what the defense was doing in the last 2 minutes, the Chargers couldn't even throw the ball down the field. You needed downfield shots. They couldn't take any because the Patriots played zone. They played a tight zone where there were no opening spaces beyond like 5 yards down the field. Who is their defensive coordinator? Terrell Williams is not even coordinating the defense because he has cancer. He's been away from the team all year. Who's their defensive coordinator? Is it Mike Vrabel? It might be. We know Mike Vrabel played for the Patriots, the linebacker, Hall of Famer. We can't all this man coverage and we're not going to change anything. Oh, we're going to play zone because no, dude. No. You know, the Lions, they like to play man. The Lions like to be multiple. The Lions like to do what they need to do to play defense. The Lions like to send 5 when it's and just heat up the quarterback all night. The Lions like to do this. The Lions like to do what it takes to win games with their defense. That's what the new approach needs to be. Because I'm tired of this, we do things a certain way. The defense has been ass since Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell got here. The defense has been ass. Brad Holmes has sat there and told you that we were going to do the same stupid crap on the freaking defensive end side, opposite of Hutch. We're going to do the same thing with the pass rush. How do you, in good conscience, as a person that wants to keep your job, how do you look at all these other teams doing things that you should do and you just go, we're good? How? How does that work? I don't understand. How does Brad Holmes look at the New England Patriots demolish Justin Herbert and the freaking Chargers? How does Brad Holmes look at the Bears in the second half, have freaking Jordan Love running for his life? How does Brad Holmes look at the Texans, who have a phenomenal defense, and go, no, we don't need these types of players? Because, obviously, we like players that have grit and if you buy Fords, back in the day, they used to have all these creative acronyms for Ford. Ford stood for Fix on Road Daily. There were questions about the quality and the durability of the Ford and so on and so forth. Maybe there was a time where they kind of got slack because they were the first ones and they were resting on their laurels. It's better today, right? It no longer stands for Fix on Road Daily. But if you bought a Fix on Road Daily and then you got tired of fixing that one, so then you bought another one, and then you bought a third one, at some point, you need to switch to Chevy. Right? The NFL is a copycat league, and we refuse to copy. Brad Holmes, this is your last opportunity, bro. This offseason's all you get. And if you do some stupid ass ish in the draft and you don't spend any money in free agency, we might as well just start up the fire Brad Holmes chats. Anyway, mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Snick, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right, let me get to your comments and questions and all that stuff, and then I will get to some mailbags, hopefully. All right. Well, Brad's presser last week definitely proved. Someone said something to him because he seemed to have eaten some humble pie. Yeah, he ate some humble pie, but then he said that dumbass crap about the freaking pass rush. Well, I don't know who had, an 11 sack guy and a 14 and a half sack guy. I don't know too many other teams. Yeah, okay. The 11 sack guy that you're not going to have anymore because he had 11 sacks and he's 32 years old and he's going to take the bag, which good for him. Not begrudging him at all. Go to wherever, because this is going to be your last contract. Go to wherever they're going to give you a bunch of money so that you can take care of your family. We know El Qadim Muhammad has a child. We've seen his child, right? We know. So you want to take care of your fam. Go get your money, bro. If somebody wants to pay you 20 million a year, which is not the value because the value is 8 million a year, but if somebody wants to pay you 10 million a year, you know the Lions ain't gonna pay you nothing but 2 or 3. So go ahead over there, bro, and get what you get. Yes, Lions need to do the Patriots blueprint next season. Yeah. Well, we knew that pressure up the middle causes issues. Melvin is too stubborn to do that. He has to bring in oft injured players. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we re-sign Davenport. I already told y'all if we re-sign Davenport, I'm just every live stream is gonna start like this. What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We're back here once again, and you already know what time it is. It is time to fire Brad Holmes. But one thing's for certain, three things are for sure. That's how we're gonna start it. If you re-sign Marcus Davenport, somebody remind me, because that's how these live streams need to start. Every single one of them. Every single one. As weird as he is, he's got a great offensive mind. Facts. I don't care nothing about his weirdness. We talking about the mind, you know. I beg to differ. The Lions need to find their own Lions way instead of the Patriots way. No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying what they did, and this is what I've been calling for them to do. Go buy a defense, bro. Bring in free agents that will help your team win. That's it. That's what he's talking about. You can rebuild one side of the football in offseason. It's not that hard. You know, if you want to keep your precious draft picks for freaking offensive line, which I would love for you to get a veteran or two in here before you draft somebody via free agency, but you need to do at least you can do half and half. Okay, we can sign 2 free agents on the offense and 2 or 3 free agents on the defense, but we need something substantial. We are without at least one of our safeties, and we don't know what the other one is going to come back and not look like, but how is he going to bounce back from the knee? Is it going to be it's degenerative? You know, is he going to go get some experimental stuff done? Probably. He's probably going to go to Germany and get some stem cells and whatever. Hopefully that fixes it. I tell you what, if somebody was growing cartilage in a lab, because y'all they sit up here trying to clone people. How about you figure out how to make cartilage and put it in his knee? How about that? Do a cartilage transplant. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you know, it's about the blueprint that he's talking about is spending money. You must spend money. You must make trades to get people in here that are going to help you win now. We don't have time to be building. I always wondered if Brad even watches the playoffs. He screams in the elevator. Also, we really need to do something at will linebacker. If we don't re-sign Anzo, we don't have a will for next season. Can't use Rodrigo, too small. Somebody fast, somebody athletic, someone who can cover. I wouldn't be opposed to bringing in a Sam either. I'm just saying, somebody fast, somebody athletic, somebody who can cover. We need to upgrade our linebacking core. We do. I always say skill will always win over grit in the long run. You know, it's talent. This is a talent-based football. This is a talent-based league, man. It is. This isn't Rudy. This isn't the days of Rudy. Right? And I'm not going to tell you that they don't have talent on this team. But what I'm saying is all that grit crap is what has you relying on practice squad players. Say it with me, guys. What do I always say? They are professional practice players. They practice football professionally. I don't want that guy being counted on. He practices football professionally because he is a professional practice player. What are we talking about? We talking about practice. We talking about practice, not the game. Not the game. We talking about practice. Shout out AI. I'm currently watching his documentary on Prime intermittently. You know what I mean? The Lions Way has been a disaster. As an owner of a Chevy, I would not recommend a Chevy. I'm just saying, I don't have a Chevy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I rock. You know what I drive. But in the interim, I've driven. I've owned a Cadillac Escalade. I've driven. Multiple cars. So it's. I just use Chevy as an example. But if you switch to Cadillac, there you go. How about that? Because I know Cadillac. There hasn't been much for defensive line help. The players that have come available haven't produced. The ones that we sign, that's what you mean? Because I know you're not talking about all across the league. You're talking about the ones we sign, right? We talking about practice. Yes, we are. We're talking about practice. Any mailbag questions? Any mailbag questions? Get them in, or I'm about to run back out. All right. So yes, everybody, anybody that can get to Mike McDaniel on social media, anybody that knows anybody that knows Mike McDaniel, anybody that has a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend of a family member of Mike McDaniel, they need to let Mike McDaniel know. Actually, they don't need to let him know. They don't need to let him know because Mike McDaniel needs to get the DJ Reader treatment. When they wouldn't book him a flight and they wouldn't let him out the door, that's what needs to happen to Mike McDaniel. Don't let him outside. Once he gets into Allen Park, don't let him outside. The league, even TJ Watt didn't produce for his contract. No, bro. We can't do that. Nah. Nope. No. If you want to keep around with Aleem McNeil and Roy Lopez and Marcus Davenport, yeah. I just told you Milton Williams put the nail in the coffin. Milton Williams was a free agent from Philadelphia who the Patriots signed. The Patriots' entire defense, other than like Christian Gonzalez and somebody on the defensive line, is free agents, bro. They brought in so many. They brought in Harold Landry. They brought in so many people and fixed their defense in one offseason. They drafted Drake May. They said, okay, he's him. We can work with him. Now let's get a defense. And they did that in one offseason. Drake May drafted, and then they, played out that season. And then the very next offseason, which was the last one, they brought everybody in. They got everybody. Everybody and their mama. As far as the Lions go, what do you see as our biggest needs? Offensive line, defensive line. We got problems in the secondary, but if you can rush the damn passer, that won't matter. It really won't. Wouldn't that be crazy if Brad drafts a CB or RB in first round? So RB would be very, very, very stupid, and I would be very, very, very pissed. And he's not going to do anything like that. Cornerback, you could make, you could make a point for a cornerback, but it will be Brad Holmes' fault why you could make this point. DJ Reed is cheeks. Terrion, we don't know if he's going to be able to stay healthy. Ennis Rakestraw, that's a net negative. Who do we have at cornerback? You know what I'm saying? We had the opportunity to do that last year with Will Johnson, and we took who we took in Tyreek. So, do you think the Lions brass will lower their ticket price for next season? They're not lowering them, but they're not raising them. They've already said they're not going to raise them. Will Brad bring in a veteran injury-prone guard, Joel Bettino from Cleveland? Most likely. Most likely. For me, it's the middle O-line, linebacker, safety, and defensive line, and a true number one cornerback. That's why I said you just got to go with offensive line and defensive line. That's too much to fix. That's too much. So you gotta go. If you fix the lines, everything goes through the trenches. What are those salty pork chops? I'm not doing that. That just is like, oh, what's up to you too? Oh, okay. Milton 3.5 sacks, 29 total tackles, 15 solo, and 0 forced fumbles in the regular season. He's also a defensive tackle. You don't expect defensive tackles to be Dexter Lawrence. He's the only one, and so you've got a very few defensive tackles that are going to get all the pressures. So when you look at a defensive tackle, you can't just tell me, oh, he had 3.5 sacks and 29 total tackles. Who else did he free up when he was taking double teams? Why is the Patriots defense so good? Why can they get to the passer? You see what I'm saying? Like, we can't do that with defensive tackles. Now, when you look at Aleem McNeil and we've got no push coming up the middle, we've got nobody getting to, off the edges, you've got Hutch, who's, you could call him generational. I'm not even going to call him elite yet. He's very good. But would you call him elite? He may be actually elite. If you put him on another team, maybe if you put him on Jacksonville, right? That's another team. Look how Jacksonville beat Josh Allen's ass all game. They managed to pull it out, but they beat his ass. Right? They were having sack parties. Pause. Right? So if you put Hutch on another team where they value the pass rush, how many sacks do you think Hutch has? He might have 20 sacks because there's someone else that they're afraid of. You understand what I'm saying? They do stunts. They do this. They do, the Patriots stunts were very clear. Right? You have to look for the Lions to do something different. Most plays is Hutch coming in out of the wide 9, trying to rush the passer from the wide position. On the same side, the left side, the vast majority of the plays, it's so predictable, bro. And then he's got to deal with 3 people. He's got to deal with, the tackle at the line. Then he's got to get chipped by the tight end. Then he's got to get chipped by the back coming out. Or he deals with a double team, and then they throw in the running back on the chip coming out. So we can't, remember what my thing, men lie, women lie, so do numbers. Numbers without context lie. These numbers have no context for a defensive tackle. Franchise record, 4-year, $104 million contract, including $63 million guaranteed. Guess what? The Patriots are still in the playoffs. And the Patriots are probably going to be favored to move on to the AFC Championship game. All of the money that they spent on their defense and the results that their defense have gotten cannot be argued with at this point. You cannot tell me that the defense has been a problem. All the money that they've spent. Can anybody tell me that the Patriots have had a bad defense this year? Can I use the Patriots as an example of a team that can buy a defense and get into the playoffs and win playoff games and possibly go to the Super Bowl? Can I use the Patriots as such? I just want to know. I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. So I'm a McDaniels guy for OC, but I'm worried the Eagles will fire their OC and Howie will grab him. Here's the problem with that. Howie can't grab him. It's not like he's a player, okay? And number two, A.J. Brown is probably gone. So who do you have? You've got an aging Saquon Barkley. You've got a mid quarterback in Jalen Hurts. And then you got Devonta Smith. I mean, you got Dallas Goedert as well. If you're talking about the tight end, I don't know about that one. Milton is just too expensive, but it's not your money. I don't care how expensive a guy is. And if you've watched my channel, I've done multiple salary cap shows and videos. I don't care about the cap like you do, because I know how to manipulate it. And this is exactly what the Lions are doing. Go look at Kirby Joseph's contract. Where's the base salary? This man makes $21.2 million a year. AAV, that is not his base salary at all. He had a cap hit this year of like $2 million. That is not his base salary. Give Tyreek time to develop, and I think Aleem wasn't fully healthy. I don't think that Tyreek and Aleem are going to give you that interior push. I just don't think they're going to do it. I really don't. And our scheme is like, I don't know, bro. AQM had 11 sacks, but 10 games this year, he didn't have a sack at all. We played 17 games. AQM had sacks in 7 games. So where's the consistency? And that's why when we get McDaniels in the building tomorrow, we don't let him leave. We lock the door behind him. We bring him in the gymnasium and we say, have a seat, Mr. McDaniels. Have a seat, please. I'm with you, dog. Defense needs help. I just don't want to sell the farm to do it. I want to sell the damn everything. Sell the farm. Sell it. And the house too. And all the animals, the chickens, the eggs, the hay. Sell the whole damn thing. I'm tired of watching other teams get to the quarterback. And I'm tired of watching my freaking, my general manager victory lap over, well, we had 2 guys. One with 11 sacks and one had 14 and a half. So I don't know too many other teams like that. So I think the pass rush looked good. Were you watching the same game? Did you watch the games in which quarterbacks sat back there and just like they were in boxing training? Like, I'm skipping rope back here. I'm just going to, hey, got that. Oh, he's open. Yeah, go ahead. They didn't even put no zip on the ball. He's open. Yeah, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try something. Watch this. Sidearm. Oh, okay, got him. Got him. I'm tired of watching quarterbacks do that, bro. So sell it all. I've been saying, I've been on record. Love to go back to the days of the Silver Rush. Somebody told me that they wouldn't. Why not? You know what I'm saying? So with all of Brad's fumbles, besides his first 3 years of draft picks, his inexperience at GM is finally on full display. Facts. You know what? And again, it wouldn't be so bad without the project picks. Because if you take the project picks and you use them to draft players like Bryant Young instead of Hendon Hooker, or Yahya Diaby, or you freaking trade for proven veteran with a third round pick at the trade deadline. No one is upset about this. We don't have as many holes in the roster. Think about the fact that you let at least 6 picks go. At least 6 third-round picks. You trade the Carlton Davis trade was a loss because you traded him for 1-year rental of a third-round pick, and you didn't re-sign him because you didn't want to give him $4 extra million a year. So then you took $16 million and threw that out of the window and gave it to DJ Reed, who has been cheeks. But if you would have taken that third round pick and Carlton Davis was your number 1 corner this year, that's a hit. That's a hit. Who is that? You talk about AQM? That's fine. And because he did that, guess what? His market value has now risen to almost $9 million. Right. AQM had 10 games without production. I'm trying to understand this. We lost 8 games. Do you think that if we got more production from the defense in 4 of those games, that we could have won? Instead of being 9-8, do you think 13-4 gets you into the playoffs? I think it does. Does it make you a favorite in the playoffs? I think it does. You understand what I'm saying? Again, numbers without context are liars. You know what I mean? Numbers without context are liars. Since Henderson is free, do you think? No. Why would we trade Goff again? And this is, I forgot to there's a lot of creators now, and there's a lot of outlets who are picking up on Herbert might just be Matthew Stafford in Detroit. I started that a long time ago, bro. I was on that train like 2-3 years ago. Herbert's got all the talent in the world, but he's Matthew Stafford in Detroit. Now, if you put him behind an offensive line and protect him, sure, he's got the big arm, he's got the mobility, he's got the skills to win. And then, notoriously, this game wasn't his fault. The last time they were in the playoffs and he threw 4 interceptions, what's the difference? Last year, he threw 4 interceptions to lose his game in the playoffs. Last year, Jared Goff threw 4 interceptions to lose his team in the game in the playoffs. Until you can show me something, and I know the potential because he's younger, he's got the bigger arm, he's got more physical traits and tools. But I can't definitively answer this question as a yes because I don't know. I haven't seen anything from Justin Herbert, even with those skills and those abilities, that makes me believe that he's going to get you further than Jared Goff. I understand that may sound crazy, but the results are the results. The first year with Jim Harbaugh, he had a meltdown and threw 4 picks. The year before Jim Harbaugh, and everyone wants to talk about Brandon Staley, and I get it. If you have a 28-point lead going into halftime and you lose that game by a touchdown or 4 points or whatever they lost it by, 3 points, you mean to tell me that your quarterback can't get you in a position that entire game, that entire second half for 3 points. They didn't score another point in the entire game. That's not all on the coach. The quarterback has to take the ball and say, I'm getting us 3. And he didn't. So, all right, last one. They were basically one play away from being in the playoffs, but they didn't make it. My point. All right, y'all, I got to get out of here. While this is fun, I got other stuff to do today. All right. Once again, the Motor City Guys R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your lines, news, pragmatic. Fun fact, I almost had to go, thought I was going to live today from the car stuck on the expressway because of the damn truck that caught on fire randomly. Yeah, that was crazy. But we'll be back tomorrow. Check you out. Peace.